Talking with State Senator David Luechtefeld from Illinois' 58th District, and some things on the horizon. Just want to touch base with you on this morning. A fall veto session is coming up. I know in the past, under the Blagojevich administration, the fall veto sessions became kind of opportunities for people to grandstand. It was definitely a weird time. What's on the horizon under a new governor for this fall veto session?
Well, there are a few bills that he vetoed, but yet, and I think they will be sustained, most of them, and not overridden. For instance, the ethics bill, I don't think that one will be, he vetoed that, saying we needed a stronger one. Well, he's right about that. But whether we get a stronger one or not, that's the big question. Certainly, the MAP program, the scholarships for university students, that is only half funded. The governor will make that certainly a proposal to try to fund that. He has suggested, I think, a cigarette tax. There's also an amnesty bill out there that the Republicans have recommended, which could raise maybe $120 million. So there will be other proposals, I'm sure. And then we're always surprised a little bit sometimes what does come up in the veto session. But it usually is determined by what the Speaker, who is Mike Madigan, and John Cullerton, who's the President of the Senate, pretty much what they decide they want to take up will be done, and most of the time not a lot happens in veto sessions.
You brought up the MAP grant situation. In reality, is there light at the end of the tunnel on that issue because Illinois is in such financial straits?
Well, I think the governor really wants to make something happen. He had the opportunity to put money there. I mean, he was given $1.2 billion to sort of put where he wants to put it, and he just chose not to put it there, and hoping, I think, to get maybe some sort of tax, some sort of revenue increase to make up that $200 million. So again, he has to take some of the blame, I think, for not doing that. But I think there will be a real earnest push to try to get something done and I wish we could, because SIU, for instance, I think fears that they will lose students if that grant is not the case in the next semester. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see again what all of the suggestions are.
Kwame Raoul is a state senator from Chicago, and he's hosting a discussion today at SIUC regarding legislative redistricting, and I believe that you're also a part of that committee as well. What do you expect to come out of that meeting today, and then also looking over the horizon, what do you expect in the long term on redistricting? Any real reform there?
Well, if we're ever going to get reform, if you can't get it now, you probably can't get it. I mean, as corrupt as this state has proven to be, with the governor and with other things that have happened in this state, and now the fact that we're bankrupt, if we can't get reform now, when do we get it? But again, I think the people in charge really don't want a whole lot of change in redistricting. These are every 10 years we draw maps, and if they can kind of push it back for another 6 months, it'll be too late to get any change for this 10 year. And right. so that's 10 years from now. The next one is done. I worry about whether anything's going to come of it. There have been 4 of these meetings. This is the 4th one. And again, will there be something come of these things? You know how the meetings go like this. Sometimes They'll make suggestions. They'll write out put together what really was suggested in the meetings, and then put them on a shelf, and you never really see them again. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because redistricting is probably one of the ugliest, most partisan thing in state government. And whatever we do, we need to change that. But the people in charge, I don't think, really want to do anything.
We're talking with State Senator David Luechtefeld. One last question. I know you've got many things on the schedule today. There was kind of a large announcement regarding the Republican primary for governor yesterday, and that was Jim Edgar came out and endorsed Kirk Dillard, which was, of course, his former chief of staff. I know in a primary you probably are not wanting to endorse anybody, but how do you think that affects the race? And just give me your overall thoughts on that occurrence.
Well, again, it certainly doesn't hurt to have Jim Edgar's, he, I think, is respected. One of the few governors we've had of late that really does have a lot of respect. So it does make some difference. How much difference, it's hard to say. I have supported Bill Brady through this all. I know Kirk Dillard; he's a nice man, but I have always felt that Bill Brady would be the right person at this time. So we'll see, whether it makes a difference. I know that Kirk Dillard desperately wanted his support and finally got it. Of course, if Jim Edgar had not supported him, that would not have looked good because he was his chief of staff at one time.
I lied to you. I said that was the last question. One more popped into my mind before I let you go. There was some headlines made about a month ago. Jerry Costello's son had talked about running against you in that 58th Senate district. Did that surprise you when that candidacy came about in the rumor mill and then it was out in the papers?
Well, it did, obviously. I was not aware that his son, who has not really held political office before, was willing to do that. I think the Senate Democrats were willing to give him a lot of money to make that happen. The name recognition would have obviously been a problem for me because most people in my district know that name, Jerry Costello. And for whatever reason, he decided not to do it. And again, he could best tell you why he decided not to do it. But for whatever reason, obviously, it would have been a tough election. It would have been an expensive election, and it likely would have gotten ugly. And no one likes those kind. Elections are not a lot of fun. Obviously, anybody that says they are, you maybe shouldn't vote for them. But I'm happy that he is not running. I do have an opponent. It sounds like now, but not someone of that name recognition.
Senator, it's always really nice to talk to you. I know that you're well respected throughout the state, and as a downstate legislator, sometimes that's hard to garner with the Chicago-centric state that we live in. So appreciate the hard work that you do, and thanks for taking a little bit of time out.
Thank you.